Hi, Vieira with stockmarketlive.tv. Today I'm going to explain in detail an investment plan which I believe it is going to generate millions of dollars. And this investment plan, it is valid from small investors up to hedge funds and investment banks. We are going to address oil stocks as well as energy stocks. These stocks, they crashed in the past years, and I believe we are close to a bottom. I'm going to explain it in detail and reason to close short positions in oil, reversing to the long side. I'm going to refer or to give to you several examples, but you can do it in an entire industry. Therefore, although I'm going to discuss a couple of examples, I repeat that we are going to utilize this investment plan in more than 20 or 30 stocks trading on the US stock exchanges. So I'm going to refer in first place, before I start, to the investment plan. Thank you for purchasing this investment plan. This is very serious, since our profits are going to depend on your confidence as well as on your discipline to follow this plan, since we are going to share profits with you. So I'm going to refer and to visit the website. We offer 100% money back guarantee on your investment. Our performance, your advantage. Bear in mind that I never failed one single call with regards to how to invest in oil in the past years. Those news that you see on the web saying that no one could ever predict the crash in oil, they are misleading, they are false, as I proved. We call it here the crash in oil, as well as we are now involved in this investment plan that I'm going to describe with regards to a potential bottom in oil stocks. So I'm going to start by saying that the only person in the world I believe in the oil industry, as you are aware of, if you have been a subscriber for several years, I explained that person helped me to understand oil was going to crash. And the reason you find since 2013, several articles on the blog of the company referring to the crash in oil and betting against the majority of Wall Street investment firms, including Harvard University. And the person is precisely this one, is the oil minister from the Emirates. You have here on the national, in the Emirates, you have here this article which I suggest you to read, and the title of the article is UAE Minister of Energy expects oil market supply to stabilize as Brent surges 11%. Well, this news that they were made available on the national February 14, 2016, in fact, they were already public ahead of this date. So we have already a long position in oil. We covered the short positions, and I think that there are plenty of stocks that they are going to surge on the exchange. And your first question might be, and I'm going here to position myself in order for you to see the article, as well as the information that I'm going to share with you here. Here you have the article once again, as well as the title. So the basis for this investment plan is one of my calls upgrading Apple at $93.40. And this upgrade in Apple, you find it live on the blog of the company. So I upgraded shares of Apple, $93.40, and I believe this is going to have major repercussions in the US stock market. Obviously, one of your questions is what is the correlation between Apple, oil stocks, or the overall market? Well, as you are aware, when last year in 2015 I downgraded Apple to strong sell, $133, that had a major impact in the US stock market. Stocks, they crashed, Apple crashed, and therefore there is a strong correlation, because I taught you here how to invest in the markets utilizing Apple as well as, and the most important, ETF tech sector, the power shares, the Qs. So my trade alert in Apple, upgrading shares to buy at $93.40, coincident with covering short positions in Apple. Also, it was coincident with my buy alert in the power shares ETF, the Qs, in other words, at $99.89, so on the same day. And this alert I explained to subscribers on live streaming, that as soon as you have this warning message in real time, you have to act and you had to cover short position. And you are going to see that the stocks that I'm going to address here, oil stocks, we covered these oil stocks immediately. We started covering on weakness while they were crashing. And at the same time, we then started buying these oil stocks. This is precisely what I'm going to address here today as part of this investment plan. So I'm going to start with this company that we have been discussing for years, the case of Transocean. You find plenty of articles and case studies with regards to how to invest in oil, how to invest in Transocean, and this is one of the companies we have been addressing here, ultra market bubble. Well, shares, they collapsed. There are several articles you have on the blog, I repeat, for example, investing against Carl Icahn on Transocean, recommending to maintain long-term short positions. And the announcement that I made on the same day as Apple traded to $93.40 was to cover short positions in oil stocks. For example, in Transocean, you are going to see other example in Ensco. And going forward, we have a buy rating in these stocks, and I'm going to explain why do we have a buy rating in oil stocks. It's not that you are going to see necessarily a bull market in oil, but since there is a very large short interest in oil stocks, and in oil in particular, we consider that it is a good idea or an excellent idea to cover short positions in oil stocks, reversing to the long side. And why, the reason for this, and why, in my opinion, this investment plan is going to work. Because I gave you the key here at stockmarketlive.tv with regards, and let me go back to the website, this investment plan that I addressed in Freeport McMoran, calling Ultimate Button, as well as in Wine Resorts. So in the case of Wine Resorts, I recommended to buy 1 million shares at $53 an half. You had the opportunity to do so since the stock made a double bottom precisely around that price. And in the case of Freeport McMoran, by far more important, I recommended to close entirely the short positions for the rest of 2016. And bear in mind, I remain short Freeport McMoran all the way down to $3.69, and that price I recorded here live, as well as I'm recording this today live. I recorded that, in my opinion, there was no reason to remain short Freeport McMoran, and therefore upgrading shares to buy at that price. Well, as you are aware, Freeport McMoran has been selling the shares on the exchange, and so that investment plan, it worked. And since it is working, I believe that this is a strong reason that the investment plan for oil stocks, it is also going to work. So we are going back to Transocean. Transocean today shares, they closed at $8.65, as you can see here on the chart. You have the price above the sentence ultra market bubble, and we closed long-term short positions at $7.89. So we started covering precisely, I repeat, on the same day, I upgraded Apple to buy at $93.40, covering short positions. You have these calls, the videos recorded live on the blog of the company. The other company that I'm going to address is similar to Transocean, is a company that we have been discussing also here for years, the case of Ansco, and today Ansco closed at $8.67. And you have a comment here, the short position closed entirely at $7.66. Bear in mind that you have here comments after betting on the crash. Vieira closed his long-term short position at $7.89, upgrading shares to buy. This is the first time since 2014 Vieira closed entirely his short position, reversing to the long side. With regards to Ansco, precisely the same. So you have here this announcement, they were already made on live streaming, warning investors for the markets to go up. And I do believe, and I repeat, that the fundamentals or the principles for this investment plan to work, where we give you 1% money back guarantee, is the fact that my call in Apple, it is working. It is already working. Shares, they stopped selling off. And I think this is important because it is the first time that happens for a long period of time. Also, more important than it, as I said before, when we downgraded Apple to sell, then thereafter to strong sell, shares, they collapsed, and that had an important, a very important impact in the US stock market. And as we upgraded, I think that this is also going to have a major impact in the US stock market. It's not that Apple shares are going to zoom. This is not about Apple. This is explaining the principles of this investment plan. So my first recommendation is precisely to cover short positions if you are still short oil stocks immediately, and to reverse to the long side. The second is that this is not valid only for Transocean or for Ansco. This is valid for the entire industry. So if you ask me which is the stock that going forward is going to perform better, I don't know the answer because this is not about a new bull market, but instead, since everyone else, or the vast majority, is still short oil, if oil starts going up and oil stocks, they will have to close short positions. And by closing short positions and the percentage to be very high, our bet or the investment plan is based on short covering, all right, and not necessarily a new bull market. So I think that in the worst case scenario, I repeat, in the worst case scenario, what can happen here is the share price of some of these stocks to move sideways, to start moving sideways, instead of continuing to crash. And since that is the worst case scenario, your risk, in my opinion, it is zero. And why it is zero? Because you have been short these stocks for years, profiting from the crash. And as well as I explained in the case of Freeport-McMoRan when I announced here, in my opinion, what could be the ultimate bottom at $3.69, the principles were precisely the same. Betting all these years in the crash of Freeport-McMoRan and then reversing to the long side. Here I'm suggesting you to do the same. Even if it is not the ultimate bottom, you can or you should do the same. At least if you don't want to go long these stocks, you should close short positions, all right? Because you have the example of what has been happening in Freeport-McMoRan. Moreover, this investment plan is not only valid for oil stocks, as well as it is valid, in my opinion, for some companies, energy stocks. For example, one of the companies that I've been defending here for a long time and my number one priority on the short side, Chesapeake Energy, well, I think that eventually the same might happen there. So I recommend that you close the short position if you are still short that stock, and eventually if you want to speculate, reverse into the long side because you have profits to do so, all right? So this is the investment plan. 100% money back guarantee, as it is announced on the website. This is very serious since we require discipline from investors, subscribers, since we are going to share profits with you. And if the plan works, obviously, I believe that you have here the principles to make a vast sum of money, millions of dollars. This is going obviously to depend on your confidence on the plan. This is going to depend on your experience as well. I do recommend, for example, that you have access to the basic training course. Other thing that I have to tell you is that as a subscriber to these investment plans, you are going to get real-time support from us. So it's not only you are going to do it yourself. No, we want to see how you are going to perform going forward. So you are going to have access, and we are going to collaborate with you using the resources, the tools that they are available on the website of the company, namely, for example, Yammer, as you are aware, that is one of the tools that we use. And I think that I explained here in detail the investment plan. I repeat, I gave you the examples and here the closing prices today for you to have as reference on these two companies, Transocean and Ensco, because we have been discussing them for a long period of time, and not only because of that, also these are some of the leading companies in the world in their respective sectors. But you can utilize this investment plan in more than 20 or 30 stocks on the exchange. So those that they ask me, and I'm going here back to those that they ask me which is going to be the best oil performer or the best energy stock performer, I don't know the answer to that question, because it's going to depend pretty much on short covering. It's going to depend pretty much on many things. But I do recommend those stocks that they collapse at $1 or so. You can speculate on them because you have profits to do so. Maybe those stocks, I think that some of these stocks, they are going to gain 1% or triple-digit returns on investment. Why? Because of the short covering and because the oil price, it has been steadily moving higher. All right? So there are principles behind this investment plan. Not only the fact that the price of oil, it has been moving higher, as well as you had here for the first time in a long period of time, the most credible person in this industry to again address the oil sector. I'm referring, and I show you again here his picture or the image, the UAE Minister of Energy, and I think that I've been explicit. If you have questions, doubts or whatever, you can contact us, and I repeat, during the course of this investment plan, you are going to have real-time support from us. I require discipline. This is very serious because you have to be there. And moreover, we also offer you remote assistant trading. So you have the definition of all this in my webinar with regards to investment plans, comparing it, for example, with trading ideas. And when we refer to investment plans, one of the difference between investment plan is trading idea is precisely that the minimum profit or figure that we are here saying that it will be possible to achieve by following this investment plan, it will be $2 million. This is the minimum, all right? So I think that it will be possible to make eventually, I repeat, depending on your participation in the market, your capital and so on, is going to be different compared to whether we are a small investor or a hedge fund, a pension plan fund, or an investment bank. But there are here, let's say, principles to make eventually even by far more than $100 million in the markets if you have experience and if you understand what I'm referring to, all right? So I wish you good luck, and I repeat that you are going to obtain full support real time from us. And by the way, congratulations for those that they have remained with me for so long, having this confidence that oil stocks and oil it was going to crash. And I repeat that this comes from the very beginning, that call that Goldman Sachs made several years ago, upgrading oil to $200, and I say that was the top in oil, okay? So this is very important because also recently Goldman Sachs made a call saying that oil was going down to $20, and this investment firm, they have been wrong 100% all the time with regards to oil, as well as many other stocks in the market, as I had the opportunity to address and to explain here. And the fact that they came here with those calls that oil was going down to $20, it helped those that they already had short positions in oil to maximize their return on investment. But at the same time, we are very suspicious. That is to say, I don't believe that during the course of 2016, we are going to see oil at $20, all right? So the reason that we already covered short positions and went long oil. But also, it does not mean that you are going to have a new bull market in oil, all right? You are going to have important volatility. You are going to have this volatility also followed eventually by short squeezes, but does not mean that you are going to have a new bull market, because at some point in the future, if short squeezes they start materializing, you are also going to have a call to reality. That is to say, I believe again that the plan is going to work. I'm 100% confident on it, if you ask me. But later on, the fundamentals are going to have a weight at some point, all right? So the fundamentals and these companies, if for the long term, the situation is rather different. So I'm not saying here that on long-term basis, Goldman Sachs is not going to be right about it or wrong about it. I'm saying that on a short term, they helped us, everyone, to make the most by extending profits on the short side, but at the same time, they also helped us to balance these short positions and to close them and reverse into the long side, because by knowing what your, let's say, enemy is as a target, they also disclosed their weakness. And this investment plan is basically based precisely on that. So when I refer to my upgrade in Apple at $93.40, it's completely different to upgrade Apple at $98.40 compared to in 2015 when Goldman Sachs was upgrading Apple at the market top, right? Completely different. And therefore, this is the reason why you have here credibility and confidence to follow the investment plan compared to other market participants out there. So thank you for attending this investment plan, and good luck going forward.